Hey folks, welcome to a special nighttime episode of What's Up with Wolf Bronsky. I know the fact that it's nighttime doesn't make much difference to you. It's always dark in here, but it does mean that, like Alfred, I'll have a tea. A natty light. So before we get going, there's going to be, this is kind of a spoilery. It's just this, this is about the big spoiler. So if you haven't read Absolute Batman #1, scram! Get out of here! Go on, get! All right, now that they're gone, what is the Joker up to? He's a billionaire, and he doesn't like jokes. But that's not really, it's not really what I'm talking about. They dropped a huge clue at the end of Absolute Batman #1. And I want to know what you think about it. But first, I've got to think this through. I haven't had a chance to really work this out in my mind because it only just, you read these comics and you're just like, blah, 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 and the little things in the little boxes, it's like you read the word bubbles, the thought bubbles, voiceover maybe. But, I mean, we read it all, but, you kind of you just, these little ones, you're just like, what? Who cares? Whatever. What? But what I want to think through is just like, how is this universe going to change the Joker? We've got the dark side energy that supposedly makes this a more hopeless place. It doesn't seem that hopeless to me. Batman's not rich, but Bruce Wayne's actually got one more parent than he has in the normal universe. So he's kind of, I feel like I consider that to be coming out ahead. And we don't have all the weird red sky and everything that we saw when Booster Gold landed in the Absolute Universe in the All-In Special. So what's going on? Maybe he may have been to like a future version, with all the tachyons. But back to Joker. Does he care more about his billions or chaos and anarchy? If it's anarchy, well, first of all, it's going to be it's kind of hard to see how he became a billionaire if it's anarchy, but let's say it is. Does he care more about anarchy or making money? Is he gonna? Well, you know what? I guess maybe he cares about anarchy, but then he also maybe he wants to rule over the anarchy. I feel like he's got to be involved with this so-called supposed party animal Illuminati thing that Maroni or Falcone, one of them, was talking about with the Black Mask. They said that he's apparently involved in some global organization. Seems like Joker's probably at the top of that, right? And those guys, they're totally about chaos. They're killing moms, they're strapping babies and moms to bumpers. I actually, before I go on, I've got to ask, does anybody know they strap the baby to the bumper and the mom to the bumper and see what? What did they do? I don't get that. They ended that sentence, and I don't know if they ended it because they want to leave something to imagination, but I don't really think of anything gruesome. I just think of a couple of people with their heads stuck to a bumper. What were they going to do? Is that a thing that I don't know about? I didn't know about curb stomping until I think most people didn't know about curb stomping until American History X. So whatever. They're all about chaos. So he's probably still into that whole thing. Otherwise, he'd just be another Lex Luthor, and surely they don't want to do that. But the big clue is on the last page where, well, actually, there's two clues. So the first clue actually comes earlier when Alfred says that he lost him, or he had tracked him to Singapore. He was close. Then at the end, they say that he is in Manila. He's in the Philippines. And he's at a semiconductor manufacturing plant, which is also something that Singapore is known for. So we've got this guy, this Joker. Guy's got billions of dollars, loves anarchy and chaos. He could manipulate the stock market. He could disrupt global economies. He could be the secret person pulling the strings on this organization that Alfred works for all we know. I think it's a government entity, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's or maybe it is, but it's been taken over. Maybe there's a corrupt element to it. And maybe Alfred and Bruce will team up and, well, that might be a little bit outside of their pay grade, but maybe once they team up with Superman and Wonder Woman, they can help do that. I mean, he can, Joker, billions, can control key resources, could take over the semiconductor market and just, disrupt the supply. There's all kinds of different things that he could do there. What I think would be more interesting is if he plans on either somehow bugging them or somehow using them as a way to control everything. Like if I don't know anything about semiconductors, but if there's some way that he could work something in there, to where he then is in control of like our satellites and our missile defense systems and things like that. I don't know. So these chips, one of the reasons that it's my understanding that one of the reasons that a lot of these stock companies like Nvidia, or a lot of stock in companies like Nvidia who are really into semiconductors, they're going up because of AI. And apparently, I guess AI needs a lot of computing power, needs a lot of semiconductors. So maybe there's an AI element. I don't know how I would feel about that. I feel a little AI'd out. I feel like maybe I've had enough AI for a while. They might be able to do a good job with it. He could maybe somehow take control of phones, cars, maybe have mass surveillance set up. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about semiconductors to know, but maybe that's not the only thing. Maybe they're going to drop more hints about what he's doing as we go through it. Um, I think that could really be crazy. Like that is really the technology that powers our world these days is semiconductors. So they've got a lot of options, a lot of ways they can go with that. And I guess we're just going to have to see. They're the backbone of all modern technology, smartphones, military systems, our cars. And if he could somehow put a back door into the chip, then he could control our phones, military drones. Um, he could be in control of like global supply chains. He could manipulate governments. Just there's all kinds of ways that he could just cause chaos. He could sabotage some sort of critical tech infrastructure. I mean, it's like really a lot of potential for a great Joker storyline because he's got now more power than ever. The interesting thing to see will be how much do we feel like it's the Joker doing this stuff. I mean, if he doesn't joke and he doesn't look anything like a clown, is he going to just feel like some billionaire who goes by the name Joker and goes by the name Joker ironically? I'm not sure. I'm very excited to find out, though. It was a great first issue. And the biggest question I have would be hard to say because I have so many questions. So usually, most of them are just kind of like thinking through what could happen and exciting questions. But I did have one question though about Batman sets off that bomb, and Alfred talks about how he makes the Batman's careful not to kill anybody. He uh, sneaks up on him later after he blows up the bomb, and he says, "Oh, don't lose your ideals now," or something like that, before Batman shoots him in the face with the non-lethal weapon. But you see those people, I mean, they look pretty blown up. So does that not count as killing? I don't know. Of course, the whole not killing thing is kind of, you got to suspend your disbelief anyway, because he is stabbing the balls out of people. Not literally, but I mean, he is stabbing some fools. And I don't care if you hit an artery or not. I mean, I think you can only be stabbed so hard before you're probably going to die. I mean, they cut the one dude's hand off, you know? I mean, people their to try to, oh gosh, probably shouldn't have. I don't know. YouTube probably won't let me talk about that, but people do, to, themselves. And I mean, he just cut his whole hand off. And then he doesn't even give him good directions to the hospital. It doesn't matter. It's a good comic. I realized as I was thinking about Absolute Batman before it came out, I told myself, look, there's some things that I'm not sure about, but they might make it work. And I even talked about how, like with Failsafe, uh, there were some things that maybe didn't like make a lot of sense, but they were so cool. Who cares? And I think that is my first number one rule of comic books. If it's cool enough, nobody cares.